We're in a button smash!
Yeah!
What's going on in here, out there, everybody watching live here on Twitch, everybody listening to us, everybody listening to a podcast, everyone who's been tuning in each and every week. And what are we talking about tonight? We have some very special topics that are permeating within the video game industry and beyond. What's that? Resident Evil had a showcase. There's a really cool new indie game coming out, and PlayStation has updates. What? Interesting. Twitch! We'll also talk about you too tonight on our show. We got with us very special cast of people who know all about and nothing about some of these things, like TV's Casey.
That's me.
Doc Chris.
Sometimes I know things, but only sometimes.
I can know a thing or two about a video game or more. And I'm your host, Backyardy Sergio. What's going on, everybody? So tonight we're going to first start off with Resident Evil Village had a showcase. And what's the showcase entail? Well, they announced a couple different things. They have a brand new trailer that they debuted about Ethan Winters, the guy that we're playing, the guy that we're following through this crazy, sexy vampire story. So in the latest showcase, they also talked about multiplayer, mercenaries, and they gave us some dates, which I did not expect to see. So starting off with the trailer, I didn't even know about this. I don't know if they announced this, but guys, it looked like it's like a classic vampire versus werewolf Lycan story. I don't remember seeing that in the last trailer. Did you guys see any of that? I was like, whoa, no. Lycans versus vampires?
I think most of the stuff that we saw is from like inside the castle that is clearly the vampires. But I think like one of the shots, like the early shots, like was of one of the werewolf faces, but like no one ever really addressed it. Like you look at this shit and it's like, oh man, that person looks like in pain, like kind of werewolfy, but I don't know, maybe it's just a vampire. But this was like all about the werewolves attacking you.
Yeah.
I'm pumped on it.
It looked pretty rad, and I'm kind of pumped because I haven't played a good Resident Evil in a while. And for Resident Evil fans, they'll probably agree they also haven't played a good Resident Evil in a while.
I mean, if they played the last one.
True.
Yeah, but then look at, the one before that, and then
the one before
that.
And the one before that.
Yeah, the big complaint is like they made it more action adventure games. They get to try out a different audience to get them more into the franchise. And that's usually like, like some big wig, like, hey, how can we get more people into Resident Evil? How can we get more bang for our buck? Those Marvel movies are doing good. They got big shooty pews and action. They do some action. And meanwhile, the developers and producers who have been there since day one are just like, well, we're not that. We're more. No, that's not us.
And then PT happened, and then they went, wait a minute. We could do that because they're no longer
they're
doing
not
that.
doing it anymore.
Yeah. And I'm pretty excited too because coming up really, really soon, we're actually going to get to play the demo. So something that they announced in the showcase, Resident Evil Village demo schedule. So PlayStation seems to have the lead on this thing, because if you have a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 4, you're going to be able to play it earlier before any other platform being PC and Xbox. So the first demo, which is the Village and Castle demo, so you have two parts of this game. I don't know if it's just these two parts, but it kind of seems like it. So they're kind of going back to the smaller, more intimate version of Resident Evil to give you one of those a horror vibe. So you have the Village part of the game and the Castle part of the game. Now, a lot of the trailers you've been seeing have been the Castle part with the sexy vampire lady. Okay, and you've been seeing some of the Village part, and they really kind of expanded here with some of the Lycans and the werewolves. And I'm like, ooh, we got a little underworld battle going on. So for the first demo, April 17th, dude, that's soon. PlayStation 5 and
that's
PlayStation,
2 days from now.
Yeah. PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 owners are going to be able to play the Village demo where you're down in the Village on April 17th. And then PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 people are going to play the Castle demo on April 24th. And then everyone else under the sun will be able to play the Castle and Village demo on May 1st. So that's your PlayStations, Xbox, and PC, which I'm really excited about because...
And all you Stadia owners out there,
get
hyped.
That was weird. I'm just like... They I wonder if they like pre-made this showcase, because they did include like Steam and Stadia. I'm like, wait, do you know Stadia's not going to be a thing?
No, Stadia is still a thing. They just the only thing that they stopped was their own studios. They're still supporting third-party studios. They're just not developing it themselves. They're like, really? I mean, I guess the tech. Yeah, they're like, oh, I guess the technology's there, so you guys can keep using it. We're just not gonna.
They
Which is
refuse
dumb.
to die.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
that's awesome. State. It's just like Wolf of Wall Street. We're not freaking leaving. We're not freaking leaving.
Hey guys, us too. Don't forget about us over here.
It's okay. They don't have to drag me out of here. Ooh, ooh. I love it. Not dying. But dude, the gameplay, and I love the intimate moments of Resident Evil where it feels really creepy, where you're in a corridor, and in the showcase they had some of the developers who worked in the game, and one of them was like a producer and director from like the first one, and I really like something he said. He said something along the lines of they're returning back to what Resident Evil fans really like. The more you'll feel the more intimate like I love how he used the inventory management and skills of Resident Evil. And for those who don't know, like sometimes you have like a finite amount of inventory. You don't have your, typical shoot 'em up game where you have like an infinite back pocket of bullets and guns and herbs and stuff like that. You have to manage it really well. And that's one thing I liked about one of my favorites, Resident Evil 4. Where you kind of go into a village and there's a whole cult, and then one of the things we kind of prided ourselves in playing that game was inventory management, being able to like get a box of bullets and like play Tetris and fit it into your finite inventory and get your herbs together and mix them together. So I remember like being in college and going into my buddy's room, and he would always be playing inventory management because he was a bit OCD, and I'm just like, dude, are you in that screen again? I can't even see your progress. He's like, hey, hold on, moving things around, tick tick tick, moving things around, tick tick tick. There we go. I can fit another box of shotgun bullets in here. I'm just like,
Half an hour later, okay, now we're ready to keep going.
Yeah, so I really like that they put that verbiage in there just to let people know, like, hey, it's not going to be like the past games where it's more blood. Because like some people were like, wait a minute, some parts of this look too actiony. They're going back to what we didn't like, because the last game, like Casey said, was pretty good and people really enjoyed it. So they're like, no, it's going to be like the Resident Evil you guys like, and I think it looks pretty cool. So when you guys saw the trailer and all the happenings and the announcements here, what did you guys think?
Well, first of all, for the longest time I was wondering, why is this game called Village if I'm just in a big old house with big old vampire ladies? And then I'm like, oh, there's more to this game than just a giant, sexy lady Dimitrescu. Like, how long am I gonna have to play before I get into the house with the giant woman? I must know.
That's the thing for the speedrunners. It's like, all right, how do we speed run straight to Lady
Lady Dimitrescu percent?
How do we get there?
Actually, what the biggest thing that came out for me that I thought was neat, and you know me, I am not a multiplayer guy by any stretch. There was just something so flashy and so really cool about the Mercenaries mode that they ran a quick trailer for in this. Stage by stage rounds, upgrading your weapons between rounds. I mean, I'm sure this kind of thing has been done in Call of Duty or Counter-Strike or some other thing, and it's like, oh, this is nothing new. But to me, I'm like, wow, this seems really neat. I actually want to play it and give it a shot.
And it's not a battle royale.
Yet.
Yet. There's always future updates.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is true. I think my favorite thing to come out of this that was surprising is Resident Evil 4 for Oculus Quest 2.
Yeah.
That is going to be pretty wild. Especially since apparently this is supposed to have a lot of ties to Resident Evil 4. They seem to kind of take, because usually basically it was Resident Evil 4 and then there really wasn't another good one for a few games until we got to Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
So I think that the comparison's cool there, and the fact that Resident Evil 4 has been on like so many friggin' different systems, it's like second only to Skyrim or something. But now, yeah, throw some VR on there. Give me some Resident Evil in VR. However, I will say, as someone who tried this game Propagation in VR, which is like zombies coming at you, zombies in VR is very different from zombies on a flat screen. It is terrifying, will say. So be prepared to be uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
End of rant.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah.
Casey, I really agree with that Mercenaries thing. I played it back in the day, and it looked really cool. I was surprised to see this in the game, because when they keep talking about how they're going to give you that classic Resident Evil, but they're just like, but wait, we're going to give you more bang for your buck because games are getting more expensive now. We're putting Mercenaries in there, and they're talking about how they're building on the past with the stuff that people like from Mercenaries, the multiplayer mode, but giving you some new things, like you have like abilities and stuff. And I wonder how many people can can play. But it looks interesting. And then also them expanding out the multiplayer of Resident Evil and giving you some more stuff in Dead by Daylight if any of you are still playing that game. But I like how there's different rounds in Mercenaries, and in between the rounds you go to this broker, this seller guy, so you can upgrade your equipment, you can get better weapons, and you can go.
It's kind of like Hades.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where like every round you find a thing that gives you a power up, but you have a choice of like one of three. Be like, okay, like what do I want to upgrade on here? That's going to help you out kind of in the next section, which is cool. Shout out to Hades. Good job, guys.
Hell yeah. And the customization and the classes look pretty sick. They're kind of keeping it like slick, like the weapons of the time. They're not giving you like crazy fully automatic weapons and shit.
Yeah.
And I like that. So they're keeping it a bit grounded. And the enemies look pretty sweet. I always like when you land the perfect shot and you see an enemy stagger, that beautiful stagger animation, like they mo-capped an actual actor to do it. Or when you get that sweet headshot and then something else like comes out of nowhere, and it kind of gives you this sense of like urgency. Like I always love the Mercenaries for that, where you feel like you're winning, but at the same time you also feel like you're losing. Like you feel like there's like impending doom coming, and the better you get and the more rounds you progress, it's gonna like really test you. And I like that they're putting that in this game. But let's see here. Yeah, and the Oculus Quest thing was a big surprise. Like Resident Evil 4, right? It's in VR. I'm like, yo, let's go. That's awesome.
The best part about that for me is physically having to rearrange your suitcase.
Yeah, I was just like,
inventory management in these games is really like nothing else. Like there are games where you have like a finite amount of things you can carry, but there's nothing like where you have to literally Tetris all of your equipment into a rectangle.
That's awesome.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Anyway, the fact that you have to like physically do it with your hands just makes me so happy for some ridiculous reason.
And it looks great too. I mean, it looks like they really went in and like built it from the ground up. They didn't just pull the assets from the old game, and I'm really happy about that because like that game I really enjoyed playing it. I think I played it twice, and then just went back in for when they introduced some of the things. But Resident Evil Showcase. So look out for that stuff soon.
Oh,
so
we forgot one thing. We forgot one thing. The Netflix show.
That's
They're doing
right.
a CG animated Netflix show.
That's right. They gave us a little surprise of something they were working on, and we got and it's set. I think the developer said 6 months after Resident Evil 4. So
2006.
Yeah, 2006. Wait. Yeah. So how in Resident Evil 4 we were playing as Leon trying to get the president's daughter. We're on the other side looking at the zombie outbreak with the president. So.
But the animation looks great. It looks like a classic Resident Evil arts, like cutscene art style. But yeah, I'll watch this. It looks pretty good. Show me some zombies in the White House. What's going on?
More franchises need to branch out and do video game TV shows on Netflix, because if Castlevania is any indication, you can get some great stuff.
Yeah, Castlevania was great.
Yeah, even though I mean, have you guys watching the Dota one, the Dota Dragon?
No, it's good though.
Yeah, actually good. I mean, like I don't know the story of Dota, DOATR, but from what I'm watching the anime, it looks pretty good. It's about this guy who's a dragon knight from back in the days, and all he does is slay dragons. He's like horny for dragons. He's like, is that a dragon? I'm gonna slay it. I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna wear its entry. I was like, I'm gonna make some armor out of it. I was like, is this low-key Monster Hunter?
I mean, as long as it's better than the Dragon's Dogma show that we watched.
Oh my god!
God,
God, it was terrible.
Yeah.
But even Misery up the chat said I did enjoy Dota anime. Yeah, it's actually good. A pretty good story. I still have to finish it, but I believe from the last episode. But I liked it a lot. I was just like, yo, like more video game anime movies. Like, stop making live action. Just make them anime. That's all you got to do. I mean, Castlevania was tight. Can't wait for the next season of that, and then this one's pretty good too. Speaking of something that probably should have an anime, I think this would do pretty well if they put out something. In Fortnite, we got Aloy. Aaron, you done messed up? Aaron, we got Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn up in Fortnite. Man, Fortnite keeps getting all the coolest stuff, and I hate it.
It's the go-to place for promotion. Like, if it's like, oh yeah, you got something that is like very easily merchandisable, we're gonna throw it in Fortnite.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Smash Bros is no longer the greatest crossover event of our lifetime.
Seriously, it's Fortnite. I mean, it was so good that J.J. Abrams was like, Palpatine coming back. We're going to do that in Fortnite before the movie.
I mean, even more than that, it's like, hey, would you like to see what Thanos does in Infinity War before he does it in Infinity War? Boom. Playable Thanos mode. Like,
yeah, and I had a big gripe to pick with that because the stones they used didn't match like his power. Like for whatever reason, like I think it was like it was so weird. Like you would figure the power stone's purple, so that's what you would use to like hit enemies and battle and stuff like that. But I think they used like the time stone, which is the green stone. I was just like, wait, what? And like the soul stone. I was like, wait, what? This is a, you know what it was? They're like, oh, here's the assets. I don't know, do something with it, you Fortnite guys. And then the developers are like, I don't know, this green stone. I don't know, you hit people, whatever.
As a comic book fan, they screwed up the colors in the cinematic universe since day one, and I'm still mad about it.
Wait, really?
However,
wait, what?
Yeah. So in the I think now the comics have since changed the colors themselves to match the movies.
No,
you know that way. If like you came in watching the movies and you're like, oh, there's a cool Infinity Gauntlet storyline I'd like to read, and then Marvel changed them all around. Originally, the Power Stone, just for example, was the red one, but in the movies it's purple, and it's like. Does it really make a difference? No. Who gives a shit? Does Guardians of the Galaxy look probably way better with the purple energy effect than it would with the red one? You bet.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the fact
because
that they
no one saw Thor: Dark World.
Yeah, nobody's. Fuck that movie. All right. I actually kind of like that movie. Whatever. They changed the colors from the comics. Originally, I think they were all green, and they were all called the 6 Soul Gems. Then, when they were rechristened the Infinity Gems, they were all given different colors, and they got that right in a video game in Marvel Superheroes versus like Street Fighter and what have you, and War for the Gems if you've ever played those cool fighting games. But then they changed them for the movies, and that color was weird. And then they got the colors wrong in Fortnite, and then they changed the colors, so they're technically wrong in the It's a very confusing thing. I shouldn't need to explain this. Read a book.
How, like they were all green at one point. What?
Yeah, the original. It may just be
Shamrock Punch.
Yeah, it may just be like an old coloring thing. If you Google Thanos enough times, you'll come across an image where he's got his hand out like this, and he's like, the 6 Soul Gems, and they're all green.
That's kooky.
Did not know that.
I also wonder why for the MCU, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, why they changed the colors. I mean, was it like a design choice? Just like you said, how in the end of with Guardians, like the whole purple swirling and stuff like that, and the power looked really cool. Because like purple just looks really good in certain things, as opposed to red. Like maybe they thought like red was too much. Maybe they did play with the red, and when that big, huge swirling cloud was going on, red looked too aggressive and too much because it's a family movie. Maybe that's why they changed it. But it's interesting. I don't know why. That's how much we care about Fortnite and
yeah.
I mean,
but
there
Ayla's
she is.
joining.
She looks great.
This event is what is called Gaming Legends, and we previously saw Lara Croft join this season. Aloy's there, so I'm sure we're gonna see more characters. I'm gonna call it right now. We're gonna see Kratos in Fortnite.
Wait, isn't he already in there? I think Kratos is already in there.
Is he already in there?
I do believe Kratos.
Damn it!
Yep,
I've seen his
Fortnite.
ass dancing around.
Yeah,
Crap.
Kratos is in Fortnite.
Well, I called the shot appropriately because I did not know that he was there.
You called it not knowing what it was. There we go.
Right.
Yeah, and speaking of not knowing what things are or when things are, a bit of news, everybody, that kind of shocked the world. So let's start off like this. The Uncharted movie, that beautiful, based on the gaming franchise that every gamer loves, right? The Uncharted games, these big action-adventure games with these beautiful set pieces. Everyone's like, you know what? That would make a pretty good movie, a pretty damn good action adventure movie. Why don't they make it? And they're like, oh, we're going to make it. It's going to star Tom Holland. And people are like, isn't he a bit babyish? I don't know, but he's good in other things. Anyway, so it turns out that Uncharted, along with some other properties from Sony, are going to be going to Netflix. So it looks like Netflix finessed people out of their shoes, everybody, and was able to cast certain titles along with the Uncharted movie. Now, along with this, they get other titles that aren't gaming related, like Bad Boys and some of these other like bigger movies. And moving forward, the Spider-Man movies, and moving forward, they also have the rights, Netflix does, to make the movies with the characters that Sony has licensed out. So you can see your Kraven the Hunter, you can see your Morbius and stuff like that. I'm just like, wait, what? Sony at Disney has been like, wait a minute, crap, what did this have? What's going on? They got the Spider-Man? So you're going to be streaming Spider-Man up on Netflix, which is crazy. But the Uncharted movie is going to be released. They're going to do a thing like they've been doing with some of the other movies, with releasing it into movie theaters and straight to streaming on Netflix. So the newest update I saw was that after it shows up in movie theaters, a short while after, it's going to be dropping on Netflix, which was the latest news that I read, which is really interesting. I mean, I personally like that too, because we're still in a pandemic world. I see some channels out there who are talking about how they want to return back to theaters. I do too. I love going to theaters. I see some of those same channels out there talking about how when movie companies do this, it's an L. I don't think it's an L if you put stuff to streaming because there's a pandemic. I'm not going to call these channels out, but I've been seeing a lot of big name channels in the geekosphere talking about how, you should just release these things in a theaters. All this streaming stuff is a big L, like it's killing the movie industry. And it's apparently, quote unquote, starting because some of the ArcLights, these infamous theaters in California, are shutting down. No update on that if someone's going to buy it up. Probably some rich person's going to buy it up because everybody loves going to those theaters. So the film adaptation of Uncharted starring Tom Holland is heading to Netflix next year, everybody. So starting 2022, we're going to be having the thing where Sony's going to be putting their all their stuff and things on Netflix, which is insane. I don't know how this deal is brokered, but they're getting some big name titles, and Uncharted is one of them. It's huge.
Well,
along with the Spider-Verse movies, which is insane. It's so crazy. What? Netflix, so somebody at Disney who's in charge of getting everything is just like, damn, how? How did that guy do that? I don't know. Maybe he showed up to somebody's house with a nice bottle of wine, some Sauvignon. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I thought damn, I need a response from Disney. I need to hear what they say or think, because good old Bob over at Disney is just like, oh man, how do we let Spider-Man slip through our fingers? This is insane.
Well, think about where we're at right now. So Warner Brothers, obviously they made it. They are a part of the whole Comcast type deal with HBO Max and whatnot. So they had that deal that they're going to do that. Obviously Disney grabs their stuff. Makes sense. They have their own proprietary streaming services. You know what Sony has for proprietary streaming service? It's Crackle, which is just some titles that are free on there.
Not even,
I thought Crackle was just Crackle was just an annoying thing I used to watch Dilbert on YouTube 4 years ago.
It's owned by Sony, so it's not they're not making any money off there. It's just a place to put things. So Sony's kind of sitting there not doing anything, and Netflix was probably like, well, you're kind of the only major studio that is big enough to want to do something around this. So yeah, they made the deal, and it's and what it is, if I read it correctly, it's for the distribution, it's an 18-week exclusivity of being just on Netflix before it rolls out to some of the other streaming platforms. So you have get a little bit more time with that. So that's great. And it's kind of funny because it was a similar thing when so right before Spider-Man Homecoming was coming out. I don't know if anyone remembers, but Disney had an app and a streaming service that was called Disney Anywhere. And what it was anytime you buy a Disney movie, you redeem it on a platform, this app would tie all the different platforms like iTunes and Amazon and Google, all that, and Vudu, all that together, so that if you owned it on one platform, you had it on the other platforms. So the question was, well, Sony owns the distribution to Spider-Man. How is that going to work? And then 2 weeks before Spider-Man was released on for home watching, they announced that Disney Anywhere was now Movies Anywhere, and they opened it up to more than just Disney movies. And I was like, that is how that happened. And also, that the Sony Disney deal and Marvel deal was the kind of backbone and the catalyst to make that happen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like I just learned an entire secret history of a streaming service I'd never even heard about.
Yeah, dude.
What?
It was crazy.
Awesome.
I was curious about that. But Uncharted movie coming to Netflix. Awesome. I want to watch it. I'm ready for it. Show it to me.
every time like you play the game, there's these amazing sequences going on. Like you got Uncharted 5 with the car chase scene where where like they're driving through the mud, they're following along in a train, and then like Nathan Drake like whips up onto the platform, and she's like, "Holy crap, this would make an incredible movie starring Brendan Fraser." But Brendan Fraser's he's too old. That's my adventurer person. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see what goes on. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, they're gonna have like Netflix is gonna have Venom 2, Morbius, like all that stuff. Like, damn, dude, like Disney, Marvel, y'all need to get your stuff together. You got finessed. I don't know what's going on there, but it's so crazy. We're gonna see what happens with next year forward with all these movies coming to Netflix. Oh man, I cannot wait. And we've got a very special thing coming up here, guys. So we here at Button Smash and, the crew here, we love indie games, right? Shout outs to the little guy, because we're also little guys as well. There are some developers out there in this great, big, beautiful world out there that we have making a great, big, beautiful game. And it's called Vocabulantis. So Vocabulantis... I hope I'm saying it right. Vocabulantis is
that's how I would pronounce it, so you roll with it.
You're looking at it, but it is a stop-motion game, right? They have it up on Kickstarter, and it tells a story about two people in the time of when, it's... Sorry, hang on one sec. That's weird. I know, I had a huge... lag spike and like my OBS said I dropped frames like crazy.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, it was weird.
Anyways, tell us about Vocabulantis.
When you're streaming, I will if they can actually hear me.
Oh, that's a question.
Yeah. So when you're streaming and you have like alerts and stuff for your internet connection, you drop frames, and I just dropped like a lot of them. So like the stream might have skipped or stopped for a moment. So that's why I kind of paused. Sounds good. Cool. Okay, cool. Thank you, Crystal Twitch. Anyway, so guys, there's a great indie game coming out called Vocabulantis, and Vocabulantis is about it's a co-op platform, and it's all stop motion. And there's a overarching story. There's puzzles, and if you look at their Kickstarter and even their YouTube channel, they have this amazing behind the scenes where they show you how they handcraft everything in the world that you're going to be interacting with. We're talking about all the different backgrounds, the platforming things, the characters. They're all handcrafted, handmade, and some of the characters have very interesting designs to them, and they're all stop motion. And the developers in the video talk about how they love this form of media, and they always wanted to kind of control stop motion characters in a video game and to give it that look. And in seeing them putting the stop motion characters to life and then cutting over to the game itself where the characters are moving puzzles, where they're helping each other out, it looks incredible. It looks incredible. I never thought I would see a game like this. That's why we love, like, indie games really give you that feeling of something that's artisan, something that's handcrafted. Not saying that the big AAA titles don't give you that, because you have games like God of War, which Casey is playing currently right now on twitch.tv/TV's Casey. Make sure to check it out when he goes live.
Thank you.
But indie developers, there's something about them where they're like, we want to do something personal, something that does seem, like I said, artisan, and it just really gives me that feel. And I love seeing the behind the scenes of them putting everything together, and the characters roaming through the environment, and the lead developer talking about how they have kids, and when they play this game, they have a big smile on their face, and just seeing what they did brought to life. I mean, making these painstakingly stop motion movements and capturing, then putting that into this gaming engine and tweaking it, and then you're able to play these characters, and they still look stop motion. And the environments look stop motion. It looks like a stop motion movie, but you're playing it. It's insane how good this game looks. But yeah, Chris, you're the one who found this little gem. What do you think about it?
Oh yeah, it rules. I'm all about the like stop motion on purpose aesthetic. And I saw this, my head friggin' broke because so what they're doing is they're basically capturing all the sprites for each character and each moving thing. Via stop motion. That way they can make them do what they want. If you don't know, sprites is basically every frame of animation, which allows them to play around with this. And I was looking at this, and it kind of reminded me a bit of Little Nightmares, which also has a very kind of similar, like, handmade aesthetic. Same thing, actually. Unraveled is another game that does it the same way, but like this just takes it to absolutely whole other level. Like you think you're watching like The Nightmare Before Christmas, which
or
is nuts.
Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah, one of these one of these Leica movies, things like that. But it looks absolutely great. It's kind of funny. Actually, a friend of mine just sent me the new music video from the band Royal Blood. I think it's called Boilermaker. But they do something. Most of the video is him walking towards the screen, but they do something with the time. I believe they probably shot it fast and slowed it down, so that it kind of gives it that kind of almost stop motion feel, even though it's like kind of smooth because it's a real person. But it's, it's that these stop motion effects, especially when you really get to like it's done really well, you kind of get that uncanny valley, like kind of unnerving feeling. That's like weirdly pleasant. That you get in this game. And again, that music video is pretty rad. I think it's called, again, Boilermaker. I do highly recommend everyone watch it because it's cool. And of course, check out the Kickstarter for Vocabulantis to see what this looks like. But yeah, I can't wait to see what this game ends up looking like. They're already funded, but like as anyone knows, any project, by all means, if you want to contribute, like money's not going to go to waste. Check it out and blow your mind.
Yeah. When I saw this and I saw like their interviews and what they were talking about it, like the developers, they seem to really have a passion about it, and they did cite Unravel and Little Nightmares as kind of their inspirations. I mean, it's even in part of their description for the game. And I really like that. I mean, it's so crazy to see them behind the scenes, like literally like putting their hands into it and crafting all these different little assets. And that's the part that blows me away, because again, it's a video game, so they can really just like model some of these things maybe in Unreal or whatever. But like they're literally trying to make all the assets you see on screen in person. Mm-hmm. And it comes out too because the textures look amazing. The little things, like the rust in the ladders, like the little trees, the little boxes, and everything. It's the lighting itself, like it's insane. So shout outs to them. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say Hollow Knight is a very similar deal where you can tell it's hand drawn. Like the fact that each thing is like someone had to make every single moment and actually create that, and it wasn't like a you plug all the numbers into the computer and it spits it out, which obviously is its own set of art, don't get me wrong, but that handcrafted feel is just like something you just cannot recreate at that fidelity without having something you can touch.
Yeah. Like you can't really recreate it in like a 3D engine without it seeming a bit false. But here, just because everything you see is handcrafted and made to look like a stop motion film, you really feel it. So shout outs to them, because this looked awesome. I love indie games and indie developers and just the concept. I mean, this is so hard. A stop motion game.
I mean,
it's incredible.
It's nice to see it make a comeback, because I mean, there is a very small, brief history of stop motion in video games, and I want to say almost exclusively for fighting games. Mortal Kombat sort of being most famous. I mean, I guess it's technically stop motion, but it's photography of people, so it's a little different. Here's a big one: Primal Rage.
Yeah,
was Clay Fighters? Was
Clay
that one of those
I was just gonna say Clay Fighter by Interplay, Clay Fighter 1, Clay Fighter 2, and then 63 and a third on N64. I mean, the reason that like a Clay Fighter game hasn't been made is I don't think it's because of interest or like the studio being gone, although I'm sure that's a part of it. It's that it's a lot of hard work when the technology to make nice looking 3D models is there. Like there's not a novelty for stop motion, but here it is, making a comeback in a big way. I'm very excited about it.
There it is. Life
goes on. Ray Harryhausen's legacy lives on, folks.
Yeah, and we will live on after we take this very short commercial break.
With a cape. No, anything. Yeah. Cape is always crazy. Cape is always crazy. Look, there are clowns walking the streets right now.
Right now.
There is no one dressed in a cape. Rogue Wave Podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. Streaming every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook.com/Rogue Wave Podcast, and available immediately following the live stream wherever major podcasts can be found.
Welcome back to Butt Smash, everybody. Thank you all who's been listening to us on everywhere you listen to a podcast, watching our VODs on YouTube channel, Rogue Matter. Tweeting at us live here each and every Thursday on twitch.tv/Rogue Matter, being active in the chat, and just being overall cool people, using your subscribbles, hitting that follow, spreading and sharing our viral moments. What? Every single, I was going to do a viral thing, but anyway, so moving right along on the Button Smash show, guys, we got some more topics to talk about. PlayStation has spanked out an update for April. The first major PS5 console update lets you store PS5 games on a USB extended storage, share gameplay across PS5 and PS4 consoles, and more. Casey, you just got a PlayStation 5.
I sure did.
Yeah. Does this update speak to you? Was there anything in there you were just like, oh, some of this stuff is kind of interesting?
I mean, I was more than just happy to have it in my life. I didn't even really give it much thought. Like, a couple of things I don't really care about. Mobile app, cross-gen, sharing screen with, a guest is fine. The game storage is probably the best thing about it. I feel like that's like unequivocally, I don't know. Something
Well,
that
there's a
people
caveat
crave,
to it, though.
that you need a thumb drive.
No, so what's new to this update? So at the moment, the only games you could put on external storage are PS4 games, or up until this update dropped, and you can play the PS4 games off of there. So what this update allows you to do is actually store your PS5 games on external storage, but you are not allowed to actually run them off of the external storage.
What?
So yes,
Okay.
so you still have to manage that. Like it's gonna be a lot faster. Like they talk about that the transfer speeds are much faster than if you're like straight up downloading it from the PlayStation Store. So it basically means that you're going back to juggling your storage, but the difference is you now have options of more places to put the games. So yeah, I mean, it's cool that they're kind of getting there, and based off of the speed that the processor is going to need to read off of to run these games, I don't know if we're ever going to be at that point where you're going to be able to run the PS5 games off of external storage. But that's kind of where we're at. The one thing so when they dropped these notes, I saw the storage thing. I was like, oh yeah, they're finally activating that second M.2 slot that they have that's sitting inside there. But the answer is nah,
Nope.
not yet.
Wah.
I cannot wait until they activate that, because I'm gonna get me a big ass hard drive and put it in there. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
be
so
really
odd that they
happy.
haven't enabled that yet. I mean, that was one of the big draws. I mean, aside from the future of gaming and all the crazy specs that they have, like from the AMD GPU and the processor and all that other stuff, but an M.2 slot, for those who don't know, there are different types of storage, and basically M.2, without boring you, is very fast, very efficient, and just like the newest form of storage. It's basically like, it looks like a USB stick, but it goes internally into your devices. If you know someone who has a very fast computer, and when you hit the power button, it boots up into Windows like that, they probably are running it off of an M.2 drive. So when PlayStation announced that you're going to have a slot where you can get your own M.2 and slot it in there, but they were like, oh, we're going to activate that later. And there's really been no explanation as to why. People think because pirating, maybe they haven't figured that out yet in the back end. But with this update, I saw some chatter that people were just like, oh wait, is this the update where we kind of get to use it? Some people already bought like the Samsung M.2s, like the latest one I think is the 980 that came out. And when the terabyte version dropped, people were just like, oh man, it's either sold out or gotten, but they've kind of come back into the wild, and people were buying them up because they want to slot it into their PlayStation 5 and drop everything on there. Because if you can boot up your games faster than ever, and I've seen the loading times today, I don't have a PS5 yet, but I've seen the loading times, and it seems pretty good. But if you can do that even faster, why not do it? But yeah, still got to wait for that. So it's kind of odd.
Yep.
I mean, what are they doing? What are you guys
And if you
doing?
if you decide that you want to, hey, I have this M.2 drive, I'm just going to put it in there until it's activated, no dice. You put it in there and you boot up your PS5 and it tells you that this drive is not supported and it restarts. So you actually cannot even have it sitting in there yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, hold on.
That's awesome.
So,
Like, they're just like,
so what's
You
the
didn't go
actual storage of a PS5? It's 1 terabyte, but with like a huge chunk cut out of it because it needs it for all its stuff. So it's
yeah,
like,
for the OS. So I think you're I want to say it's like 700 or 800 megabytes.
Yeah, I think I remember that number.
Oh, gigabytes. Sorry, not megabytes. Yeah.
how do you even fit Call of Duty on that thing?
It's a chunk. Yes,
The heck, man.
that's true.
You have
need
the
a
one
separate
game.
PS5 just for Call of Duty.
Listen,
So-
people were buying phones just for Flappy Bird. So being
That's
able
true.
to only play Call of Duty on your PlayStation.
Understood. Yeah. And the share screen with visitor thing is pretty cool. So like in the past with PS4, they kind of were like, oh yeah, you'll be able to share your screen with someone, but really what that meant was you hit the share button and you can stream to Twitch, and then at that point, someone can kind of tune in and watch what's going on. But it looks like this new with the PS5 OS, you can actually using PlayStation's own servers and being able to do a more private stream is possible. And the cool thing is that is going to work with not just PS5s but PS4s. So if you're playing a game, chatting with someone on the PlayStation Network, and you're like, oh hey, check this out, even if they don't have a PS5, you can show them, which is great. And there's even this technology as well has allowed for even something called share play, which means you can have someone else basically take over your game. So not only are they viewing it, but they can actually control it from their console. As well as if there is a multiplayer game, you could play with that person as well, which is cool. And that, again, the thing that has unlocked with this new update is the ability to do that through cross generations from PS5 and PS4. Which is great. Very similar to Steam rolled out a similar feature as well with some games that allow you to take like things that are normally couch co-op and making them couch co-op over the internet, which is great. And then mobile app management. So the mobile app for PlayStation also updated, and the important thing there is kind of what we talked about with the PS5 game storage. You can manage that storage and kind of where your games are stored. So let's say you're on your way home, you're like, oh, I want to play this game. It's downloaded, but it's on the external drive. You can use the app to actually move it from the external drive onto the main drive. Which, yes, it's juggling, but it's a means to be able to do that a little bit easier than having to, like, you got to jump on it before you even turn your PlayStation on. So that's good, I guess.
Yeah, but with all these features and more, I mean, how can you, can't wait to eventually get PlayStation 5 and more of these things. But for now, what are you guys playing on your PS5?
Me,
Casey.
nothing but God of War. After I cleared out Astro's Playroom the first week I got it, I'm like, I'm setting my sights on what I missed out on and what I gotta play. And since I just bought PlayStation Plus, I feel like I don't really need to buy another game right away since there's so much at my fingertips already.
GPU.
And I also thought, you know what would be fun? What if I started a career in streaming as well? through no pressure.
Your 1 week career.
Yeah, one.
Your 1 week.
Hey, in 1 week, I've already streamed 3 times. I feel like I'm on a roll here.
It's been
Dude,
1 week.
I tuned in and I was surprised at how far you got on God of War. You're fighting
Dude,
the
I said the
dragon.
same thing. I was like, you're here already?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
man.
played it for about 10 hours.
This man's been playing some games.
I did it.
Damn.
I did 2 5-hour streams, and then I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm not getting as much progression as I would like. Like, I see puzzles that I can't do, which means main story time.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that. Like there is a bunch of areas that are locked just by abilities that you'll get later. But there's definitely the side quest rabbit hole, except you can only do a handful of them at this stage.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
do like that they sort of give you a progression where it's like every time you talk to Big Snaky Boy, he's like, "Oh, I'll just lower the water a little bit more for you." And it's like there's so much room for activities.
It's so good too. When we get to that area and like the water lowers and you see there's more of the game, you're like, oh my god, there's more to this game.
So many skeletons.
It's so good.
Yes.
Right now, if you haven't tuned in, twitch.tv/TVsKC, I think the last thing I did was I had presumably my last encounter with the witch since Kratos no longer wants to associate with her. And I discovered the last cipher to Muspelheim, which is where all the fire boys come to play.
Whoop whoop.
I haven't visited the area yet. I just know that from Norse mythology and reading far too many Thor comics. Overall, I think the game is absolutely incredible. I don't know if I'm playing it at the best like visual like specs that I can, because I had to turn off something just to enable it to stream properly. I don't know if that had anything to do. Like, is there like a visual upgrade to playing it on a PS5?
There was They did release an update
did
upped the graphics. So yeah.
I remember seeing a trailer where they kind of did the side by side, and it wasn't really too noticeable because the game looked damn good on PlayStation.
Honestly,
4.
that's kind of a hot piece of contention. I almost wish I brought it up for news tonight, but I might as well bring it up now anyway.
Do it.
Have you guys noticed that in things like the Mass Effect remaster or whatever, the graphics are so marginally different? It's almost like they just added a lens.
You know, it's funny. We were
like,
talking about that before you joined in, and we were saying how we're not really that impressed because not only do we love I personally love the game Mass Effect, but in seeing their high definition trailer for the Legendary Edition, it's like they made things slightly better. I mean, you have games like Final Fantasy VII and then Final Fantasy VII Remake. You got Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you pause it and when they have the original and the new version side by side, you're like, okay, the new version still looks like an old game. So what were you guys doing, really?
It's literally just it looks like it's just the contrast. And I was talking to we were talking, I was like, it literally just looks like the new one is brighter and the textures are sharper at like hard stop. And I think that it looks better darker. So like I'm looking at the side by side comparison, I'm like, why am I supposed to like the one on the right? The one on the left's aesthetic is so much nicer.
Yeah.
I can barely tell.
And there's sometimes where it looks like the environment looks better than the actual characters. Like there are versions where you see there's less of a lens flare. You can see more of the environment, like some of the snow-capped mountains. And
there's also like a color.
There's
There's a color washout. Like I saw one screenshot, in a Mako level where there's like an Aurora Borealis kind of effect in the sky, and then in the new one, it's like it's fog. Gotta lower that draw distance, baby. Like what?
My favorite is
South Park on Nintendo 64. Give me a fucking break. I don't need fog in my video games.
Yeah, Crystal Twitch looks more like anti-aliasing, reflections, and lighting effects. Yeah, so like minor things. It's almost as if they plugged it into a PC and they ran it through some like make better generator kind of thing. Because my favorite comparison is one of my favorite characters, Garrus Vicarian, right? And you see the quote unquote newer version and the original version. It's like like little cat puppy guy looks a bit better.
Dude, you can actually see his eyes better in the original version than the new one, or the one eye that you can see.
Yeah. So I'm just like,
I don't know, man.
You guys do you, and then you have Liard to Sony. Like
it's like you can really see the crevices on the fucked up part of his face. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, I already fell in love with this man. I don't need to. Come on. Don't do this.
And then the other characters like Liard's like, okay, you can see her freckles more, and there's more of a shine to her face. Okay.
And they enhance the booba.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I was expecting more of like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Obviously, it's not going to be the exact same engine and stuff like that, but I figured they would really go in and like I figure they're inviting us over for spaghetti dinner and they're going to massage some meatballs. You know what I mean? But it looks like they got some frozen ones. Yeah, it's spaghettios. It looks like they got some frozen ones and they bought some sauce and like, oh, we reheated it. There you go. They didn't actually grind it and make it, massage it, and put it together. They're like, got some frozen. Here's some sauce, heat it up, kind of looks better, and it tastes.
I mean,
all right.
Final Fantasy is like a whole nother beast though, because you can look at how that game started on PS1, and it's like they're just blocks, and it's chunky, and the backgrounds are like pre-rendered, and you're like 3D models walking on a 2D background. But then it's like Dirge of Cerberus. It looks a lot more polished. It's a bunch of years later, and then there's Advent Children, which looks a lot better because it's a lot of years later. And then this is still like just
and a movie.
And a movie. I should point that out. That was a film, not a game.
Yep.
And then there's this, which is a step up even beyond that. But there's so much time. I mean, Mass Effect is what, 12 years old?
Right, but they're I think what Serge is getting at is that the marketing is treating it like it's a remake, not a remaster, and it is very clearly a remaster,
Right,
and we're still kind of confused at what they actually did.
There's a lot of things they could have improved on that game if they did a ground up remake.
The whole development process was just running it through an AI to see what it liked better.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's like, here, let's put it through this generator, and here we go. And even the fact that
Why
that
did
they're
some
not
of our
even
dialogue
changing,
options come back racist? What's happening?
and even the things like not even changing like the horrible ending for Mass Effect 3. They're like, yeah, we're not touching that. It's like, wait, what? You have this opportunity. You're reintroducing this back into the wild. Even to like a new generation of people who've never even played this game. I mean, you guys can go somewhere with this and then go beyond. Yeah. But they're like, nah, we kind of only have a budget for a certain amount of things. But yeah, like Chris said, I figure they're selling it more than what it is. And to any developers out there who's like, oh, you guys are talking, there's a lot of stuff being done. It's like, yeah, but I'm not a game developer. I'm not really seeing too much of a difference here. I mean, especially that I mainly game it on a PC. So to me, the difference is playing it on lower settings or higher settings. That's what this looks like to me. As opposed to like Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's like you see that they really, really made the meatballs. They got in there and I don't know what's in food, but they really
they
got
called
in
up
there.
Mama Celeste. Actually, they didn't go to the store. Mama Celeste showed up and she made that pizza for you from scratch. She brought the flour and she rolled it. But this whole trailer is a side-by-side comparison. But there's not much difference between those two sides. Whatever, man.
I would be embarrassed to show this off, to be completely honest with you. If you're building up this big thing and it looks like this and the reaction is, okay, thanks.
That happened with Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia did that. They showed off what they did, and people were so unimpressed that they then went basically back to the drawing board, and they pushed it back so that they can continue working on it, so it didn't look again marginally better.
Imagine a beloved game like Prince of Persia, and you're just like, yo, we're coming back out with it, the game that you love, but like, it's gonna be souped up, it's gonna be enhanced, and then you show, here's a trailer, guys. Oh, does it look souped up and enhanced? And the whole gaming community, everyone's just like, what the hell? The hell is this? Are you not even behind? What? And they're like,
why are you bragging?
April Fool's Week. That's not for real. That we're going back and we're doing it. They're like, God damn, like, what the hell? Who put this out here? Like, somebody from the company was just like, did you guys do your homework? This is a group project. What the hell?
Yeah.
Come on.
Anyways, this is the segment that we entitled Button Smash just shits on Mass Effect.
Yeah. do either of you guys have a genuine enthusiasm to replay those games?
I sort of do, because I really like Mass Effect, and I've been hankering to kind of play it again. I mean, I remember playing the first one and really liking the story and digging it. I think it's more so getting back into that story again, as opposed to like looking at the graphics and the combat and stuff like that. Because I really was engaged with this game back in the day. Like, I really liked where it was going. But generally, I'm not hyped for it. But hey,
I've never played them.
Okay.
But
really? Oh,
yeah. I don't know. And I have several of my friends that are like, dude, you got to play it. And I'm like, I don't know that I do. Like, I don't think yeah. I don't know. It's I have yet to see anything about this game that really has gripped me. And I mean, I still have to, like, I feel like Halo is a much more tangible, more fun version of what this has to offer. And I know that there's more like relationships and branching choices in this game. I don't really care about that. I think I've talked about before.
You have narrative choices and you have RPG elements.
No,
I build your character a certain way.
I want my handheld. I want you to tell me this is what the story is. This is the best version of the story, and I want to go from point A to point B, and you lead me down that corridor of an experience. I'm not a person that likes having too many choices. Like, I don't care. I just want a good story.
Well, in Mass Effect, there's not too many choices. Like, kind of like a game like Dragon Age has more choices. So Mass Effect,
hard pass.
So Mass Effect, you can choose different stuff, but it's ultimately the same-ish ending for certain things, except for certain events in Mass Effect 2. But in the first one, it's almost really the same thing, except like with who you pick to go along with you and things like that. But but like, this was when BioWare was BioWare, and BioWare was known for their story. Right, like their story team was something to behold within the gaming sphere. And every time a game came out, you're like, here comes BioWare, let's go. And you were like, oh yes, give it to me.
Oh, Dragon Age 2. Okay.
Stop. You saw that right
I
now?
started Inquisition And I was like, cool. And I probably played like a couple hours of it, and I was just like, I'm just not enjoying this at all.
Same. I love the first Dragon Age Origins. Like that game was. I love that era of like like Warcrafty, like wizards and mages and all other cool stuff. And the first Dragon Age was awesome. Dragon Age Origins, and then Dragon Age 2 is they went more actiony and crazy and kind of weird. I was like, but yeah, Inquisitions. I remember buying them like, all right, new Dragon Age. They're promising. Okay, we got it now, guys. We're good. And I bought it day one. I popped it in. I was just like, nope. Like, this is not it, Chief. I was so bored. I don't care about any of this.
There's such an uncomfortable, spotty history with great games and unfinished games.
Yeah.
And it drives me up a wall. Also, I've been waiting for Baldur's Gate 3 for too many years. Too many years.
And now that it's here, what do you did you play it?
No.
Okay. Well, you got a PS5 now, so you're not playing any more computer games ever again.
You're probably right about that. I straight up threw my Switch in the garbage. I don't need you anymore. You dumb little bitch.
Because you got a PS5? That's insane.
I can't play you in 4K. I don't even have a 4K television.
Have you opened up a Demon Souls yet?
No. Just
dude.
When I play a game, I don't tend to jump around. I played a little bit of Crash just to do a test run for the stream, but I am a one game at a time, play it to completion.
I'm surprised that wasn't the first one you played, since you really like the Dark Souls franchise.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? So I thought about, Greg told me when you play a game, if you're also going to commit to trying to stream stuff for an audience, one, you should try and show everything that you do in a game that you're streaming on stream. So don't play the same game off stream and be like, oh, well, I did a bunch of stuff while you guys weren't watching. I'm still learning a ton of things about it, so I feel pretty good. But he also said if you want to play a game for yourself, just play it off stream. And I thought, all right, maybe I could play Demon Souls off stream. But then I
don't know how true that is. Like, what? Now, the first part of not doing stuff off stream is true. Like if you're playing like a big open massive game, I mean, like there are certain things, if a game's like really big and there's stuff for you to collect and stuff for you to boost your character or whatever, like I do these like little side missions with killing 100 rats, or whatever. Like, yeah, do that off stream. But a game you really like you're really into the Dark Souls franchise, and you really like, I would think that you would really like Demon Souls. I mean, I've seen gameplay of it, I haven't played it myself. It looks insane because it's a PlayStation 5. Holy crap, the textures, the particle effects, like talk about next gen HD. I'm like, this is so, like when streamers who have the power to get this thing in full 1080p or whatnot on Twitch, it looks like it's in 4K, and people who actually have videos, on YouTube who can play it and put it out in 4K, it looks insane.
It looks incredible. I've wanted to play the original Demon Souls for a very long time, so finding out that there's a remake is even better. But my logic behind it was, so much of me playing a game relies on muscle memory, especially if I'm trying to play it all the way to completion. So I thought, if I play God of War and I also play Demon Souls at the same time, I'm going to get completely goofed up going back and forth between these games if I'm playing them mostly simultaneously. And even worse, if I did it with, say, I finished God of War and I'm playing Demon Souls on stream and I'm playing Bloodborne for myself. Like, Bloodborne and Demon Souls and Dark Souls have a very similar, like, button mapping format, however you want to call it, but Bloodborne's approach to just the combat and everything is way different, like to the point where you kind of have to break yourself out of the mold of all the Dark Souls or FromSoft, sort of way you're used to playing. And like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. And I definitely don't want to like get
I definitely need to see you play it, because it was hilarious when we were at Greg's place and you were playing Demon Souls. I don't know, you just had a really colorful this whole segment is a commercial for Casey's channel. Is basically what this is.
Now that I have the ability to really, I don't know, the ability and the motivation to really do it, I'm excited to now. Greg has always been a great inspiration for me. Since,
I don't know about the whole don't play something for yourself and stream it or some shit. I don't know what that is. Don't do that. Like, actually stream it. Don't. He's
my plan is to stream as many games as I can. Although if you think that it's entertaining for me to play something in front of you, I'm more than happy. But I feel like a lot of the way I play a game might not be.
Casey's commentary when we're at Greg's Oh, he playing Dark. You had some good commentary, dude.
Look,
It's
I
hilarious.
have a whole laundry list of stuff that's in front of me. Both Neo games, original Crash, maybe Crash 4, but I hear Crash 4 is a real nightmare to complete. God of War, I mean, the Spyro collection. I haven't played I haven't ever owned a PlayStation. I've never played like a Sony exclusive unless I was at a friend's house. So, I'm 30 years old.
It's like Overload.
Yeah. Like, even PlayStation Now, I'm like, I have PlayStation Plus. I don't need PlayStation Now. And I look at the list, and it's like, oh, Ape Escape 2. Like, wonderful. The fucking pioneer game of dual analog.
Yep.
Like, I'm talking formative gaming history stuff here, I'm dying to play the old Metal Gears. That's what's killing me. That's a franchise I've always wanted to engage in and never could beyond Twin Snakes on GameCube. So for me, it's just a matter of time. But I've got a queue a mile long to show off to people.
You guys can catch all that on twitch.tv/TVs Casey.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now
Let's talk about another streamer.
Yeah. Take Chris.
What's going on with Harris Heller? Give us the rundown.
Well,
Oh, I thought you were gonna.
Oh no! I just put it on here.
Oh.
Well,
Okay, I'll give it the rundown. All right, Harris Heller, popular personality on Twitch, game streamer,
and tech expert.
Tech expert. He's decided to move his channel off of Twitch and onto YouTube to get into YouTube gaming. And his reasoning, and a lot of it is that, Twitch, you build up your Twitch community, you stream, and you can kind of engage with people in the moment, but there really isn't a lot of engagement kind of after the fact. It doesn't really, Twitch is kind of its own, it's like an island. It's its own thing, where something like YouTube gaming, there's much more engagement kind of after the fact as well. You can, you can either stream live, upload stuff later, and tying into all the different Google services, it's much easier to share those videos. It's an interesting, and apparently he made this decision pretty quick. He goes into on YouTube, he uploaded a video kind of going into depth of why he's making the switch. And I get it. I get why the YouTube thing is appealing. And it's interesting where we're at, because think of like when Ninja left and went to what's his face?
Mixer?
What was the streaming service? Mixer, yeah.
And then Twitch is like, and here you come crawling back, you sad sack of shit.
I can't believe for a second we forgot the word Mixer. Holy crap! Like,
We
all forgot.
It was such a flash in the pan. Like the last time we were all together was at PAX.
Yeah.
And it was there, and we're like, this ain't gonna last.
And spoiler alert,
every time you go to a gaming convention or a comic convention, or whatever, and you see the Mixer booth, you're just like, look at these guys.
Yeah.
You're not
and then they
Twitch.
got bought out by Facebook Gaming.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So great, but then Facebook Gaming, like, that locks it to a Facebook account. You have to have a Facebook account. You have to deal with all the Facebook bullshit. Versus YouTube, Google has always been pretty open. Like, anyone can just go check out your channel and take a look. They don't need a Twitch account. They don't need a Facebook account. You just go and take a look. And it's just that whole access and not locking it behind it's your own community and everything that comes with it is very appealing. Yeah, I get it. I think like the state of social media at the moment and the popularity of so many more people are doing the streaming thing. Obviously Twitch was the first big guy in the water to really make a name for itself in gaming, but like a lot of those tools are available through YouTube.
Yeah.
So why not?
Hold on a second.
And this is why his video was interesting, because for those who don't know, like Harris Heller, like he runs a successful business and a couple of other things. And he's an influencer in the space, and he gets a pretty good size audience, and he knows what he's talking about. He also puts this knowledge out to everybody. So his YouTube channel is full of stuff like how to stream, what to do, like tips and tricks, like stuff like that. And he's a pretty good personality himself. So when he talks about ending his contract with Twitch to like focus on YouTube, it's kind of a big deal, because you have this content creator of his size and his business acumen who's talking about things like, well, discoverability on Twitch as opposed to YouTube, because on Twitch it's a pretty niche thing, right? There are still a lot of people who have no idea what Twitch is. I mean, I have coworkers who are just like, hey, by the way, what is Twitch? Like literally the other week I had a coworker who was just like, by the way, what, like straight up, what is Twitch? And it's such an interesting question, because like we know this space and we know it exists and we know what it is, but to kind of explain it to someone, I was just like, well, it's kind of like what we do, but like on your own stream. It's kind of like how you have like Facebook Live, but it has its own audience, its own ecosystem, its own vernacular, its own emotes, its own stuff like that. But it's specifically just through here. And even when you tell people certain things like, oh, it's owned by Amazon, so you can hook up your Amazon Prime account to Twitch and you could subscribe to a Twitch channel for free. I've had people be like, but how much does it cost me? I'm like, well, when I said that, when you hook up your Amazon Prime account, which you have, all people do, you hook it up to Twitch, it's free. They give you a perk of subscribing to a Twitch streamer for free. That Twitch streamer gets paid, but it doesn't cost you anything. It's like, yeah, but what happens when it renews? I'm like, it doesn't renew. Because you have to do it manually. You have to do it manually every month, which is such a headache, because I have people, like who support my channel, some other channels. There's some channels like I support with my Twitch Prime, my free subscription, and I have to like remember to manually do it. And people kind of don't get it. So what Harris Heller, this big influencer, is talking about is on YouTube there's more discoverability. There's more people who can just kind of stumble into what you're doing, as opposed to Twitch. You kind of have to like go looking for it, or you have to do your own advertising to put out your Twitch stream. So for someone like him to try to like end his contract with Twitch to seek the other avenue, and also it's kind of weird how Twitch did it too. He was reaching out to a representative at Twitch, asking them when his partner contract was done. So for those who don't know, when you start off at Twitch, you don't start off with anything. You just start streaming, and then you can become an affiliate. You get a subscription button, and then later on, if you're good enough, if you're getting good numbers, you become a partner with them. You sign a contract and all their stuff. And he was asking when his contract was up, and people have a certain amount of viewers, amount of numbers. You got to kind of have a different contract than other people, and they really didn't answer him. And he's like, okay, why is nobody answering me on this? It's kind of odd, kind of making my decision a bit easier. And then, he kept asking. It's just like, it's odd. And then a random email came to me. It didn't really have anything significant saying that it was Twitch. And they answered with, oh, your contract's up tomorrow. And he's like, oh, okay, that kind of makes my decision moving to YouTube a bit easier. So there you go. And Twitch is always weird with certain things, man. Twitch is always so odd. Like there's certain rules and terms of service, TOS, that it's kind of weird with Twitch. Like, you can't say certain words and do certain things. Like there was a streamer who kind of got dinged with a warning for using the word like obese or whatever. They weren't using it in like a derogatory way or something like that. It was like a couple of friends kind of just joking around with each other, and that they kind of got warned about it. Nothing happened to the channel, but they kind of got warned about it. And then they were doing a live stream the other day where they were just making breakfast, just palling around and stuff like that. And one of us was going to make a joke about how they're so obese, and he's like, "Wait, we can't say that word." And he's just like, "Twitch, like I'm just going to say." He's like, "Grow up. It's an actual term. It's an actual thing. We're all fat. We're joking with each other. It's fine." But and then he let us like, "Yeah, we got warned about it. Nothing happened to our channel, but we got warned about it." I'm just like,
Cut
wow.
to where Rogue Matter gets a warning because we just used it twice in describing the situation.
Imagine, but yeah, exactly. And then now you can't use the word SI. Well, so for simp, you can say the word simp. You can't use it in a derogatory fashion. And also on Twitch, you can't. No one in your chat. This part's insane. No one in your chat can use the word simp in a derogatory way. So if somebody comes into a chat and somebody in the chat room, nothing to do with the streamer, what we're doing here live, says that word and a bunch of other words as well, you as a streamer can get in trouble.
Shut it down. Shut it all down.
Shut it all down now.
It's insane. It's like somebody's mom at Twitch was tired of their son being called all these different things. Like, you know what? This word. You can't say it. You can't say it. And if it's in your chat, you as a broadcaster, your channel, you'll get in trouble for it. And people are like, what? I can't. You kidding me? And some people have regularly 20,000 people watching minimum every day. You can't control that chat. You can't control it. There's no way. You can garner a community where it's different and you kind of nurture, a certain environment. Yes, but if somebody calls somebody a simp in your Twitch chat and you're like, it's so insane. It's crazy. So Harris talking about, discoverability and things like that. And Twitch is also, which this is a good thing Twitch is doing, they're cracking down on bots. So there are certain things on the internet where you can kind of fudge numbers, right? So people usually go through services or certain things in which you can make your channel appear like it has more numbers than another. So on Twitch, you have your live streamer count. You have how many people are subscribed to you, who are followed by you, whatnot. But a lot of people like seeing that viewer count. That viewer count is bigger. They figure it'll entice more people. Like, oh, there's like 10,000 people watching this stream. Like, what's going on there? Let me click on that. So some people use view botting to get more views, and they're bots and actual people to help their channel grow by getting that initial click from real people. So Twitch apparently has been cracking down on that, and they found I think like 7 million, like some insane number of bots on channels across Twitch. So they were telling content creators, hey, if you see your counts go lower, your follow count or your view count go lower, that's probably why. And a lot of people were saying, hey, sometimes what happens on Twitch is that you'll have a viewer who knows how to view bot, and they like you as a broadcaster, as a streamer, and they're like, on my own, I'm going to view bot this person that I like, and I'm going to give them a bigger number of views, so the person goes from like 7 people watching to like 2,000, and the broadcaster generally knows that that's kind of false, because if it jumps up that much, someone's view botting, but that's not on the broadcaster. So a lot of people are reaching out to Twitch saying, hey, hopefully this doesn't affect my channel, because I've reported it to Twitch that, hey, I got view botted on this date, or this is going on, because some people will get view botted because some viewers like, hey, let me help you out. Here's 2,000 like views. It's not real people, it's a bot. And then usually the broadcaster will be like, I don't want that, because you're view botting my channel. It can get me in trouble with Twitch. So hopefully people are at Twitch are keeping that in mind too, because Twitch also does stupid things like, hey, why don't you just report some of those bots? Which was a real response from Twitch. Just it'll help us out. You won't. Twitch said you won't get in trouble. Just report some of those. We'll take a look at it and we'll see that your channel got view botted. And it's just like, okay, but if you're going to do this sweeping thing all over Twitch, we're trying to find the view bots and you're trying to crack down on them, and then you come across my channel or whoever's channel who got view botted one day. I mean, are you going to smack my channel? Like, what's going on here? And Twitch is like, you'll be fine. And nobody believes Twitch. It's like Anchorman. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And Twitch is like, no. We can kind of tell if you review about it. It's not your fault. It's like, yeah, but what? There's so many channels. How? Obviously, you're going to be running something to kind of clean up Twitch, from these view bots. But it's just like, I don't know. Twitch does a lot of stupid things. Or the whole like DMCA thing. If you played like copyright music and then you get, like slapped the fine, or if you're playing a game that has copyrighted music, Twitch has no safeguards, and Twitch is just like, hey, why don't you just mute that part of your game? Forehead. Lol. It's just like, what? So when Twitch is like, hey, if you review about it on your channel, you won't be in trouble. You'll be fine. I don't believe you. Nobody believes Twitch at this point. It's insane. So Harris Heller talking about over to YouTube as the main thing is it makes sense, especially for what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And yeah. But yeah, Twitch is such an interesting place. I really like Twitch as a streaming platform. It just works. It's smooth. I really like the environment that Twitch garners. If you go to certain channels and there's like vernacular, there's certain communities that band together and they move on from Twitch to Discord, and some people move on to real life and develop friendships, and like they're streamers that I've never met in real life, but like I play with all the time, and we're in Discord and we're talking and stuff like that. That they become friends. So Twitch is a good place to be, but sometimes, man, they really need to get their stuff together. And it's that. Yeah. So, guys, really quickly while we wrap up here, I kind of know what Casey's been playing.
Yeah.
But, Chris, what have you been playing?
I don't think I've talked about it on the channel yet, but I'm playing a couple of little things. But the one I want to talk about today is a game called The Pedestrian. And what it is you play as basically like the little guy that you see on like the crosswalk signs for the most part, and it's a platformer. But the way it works is you'll come to an area and there'll be a bunch of different signs. On the signs, there's like different platforms you got to jump on, keys you got to grab, and there's doors. And what you have to do is actually connect the doors between the various signs. So like you'll come to a sign, you'll see there's a door, but then like the key to that door is on another sign. So then you have to connect like another door to the other sign to grab the key to then go back to the original sign to get out. So it's a very interesting aesthetic because the whole thing is all using like walking signs, subway signs, all different types of signage. And it's cool. It makes your brain hurt a little bit because trying to figure out how all the doors interact with each other, and also there's a bit almost like a Tetris effect to it where you have to make sure that the signs that you're moving around the screen can like fit in the area that you're looking at. It's a really cool looking game. It's a really fun spin on a very simple just walk and jump and grab control scheme. But it's just a really cool looking game, and I'm enjoying it. It's I recommend.
It looks really interesting. Like I really like I remember when we first saw this trailer, we're like, ooh, that art style is so interesting. Like it's gorgeous. Yeah,
so I was very excited. I forgot about it until I got the PS5, and I was just looking. I'm like, what games? I was like, oh yeah, the Pedestrian. I wanted to play this game so bad. So I downloaded it. Yeah, I'm having fun with it.
All the PS5 stuff. Nice. In case you've been playing some God of War over this
yeah.
channel, Twitch.tv/TV's Casey.
Thank you again.
Yeah, which we do that in depth here. I haven't really been playing much. I did download Outriders because my buddy Alex really wants us to play games together, and I haven't.
You mean more than just Call of Duty?
Yeah, Call of Duty is just high stress. Just crazy. It's so funny too because like the group he's playing and like they freak out and they have so much stress that they try to like calm everybody down and like name the group Happy Fun Friend Time or something like that. And it's like, hey, everyone hop into the Happy Fun Friend Time. We're gonna have a good time. Let's just whatever. And one of his buddies who is hilarious, this guy called the Bobby Online. I guess he's like my buddy too, but he's hilarious, dude. Every time like they get killed or get wiped, he's just like, I'm gonna go lay in traffic. It's called the game is fun. Like Warzone is awesome, but man, when it's stressful, like you feel it, especially when you get down to that last circle and it's just like you and your boys versus the other team, and battle royales are so amazing. It's if you like games that are pressure cookers and really test your ability, like try playing a game where it's you versus a massive amount of teams and a circle gets smaller and smaller and only the better teams are left until it's you and like the other team that survived and fragged and killed. So it's like you and the top dogs in the smallest circle possible in a ring, like trying to kill each other, trying to be on top, trying to win. And if you win, it's big because that means you beat the other dogs that beat the other smaller dogs in this arena. And it's just such a good feeling when you get that W. When you get that W, you're like, yeah, everybody eat it, let's go. But when you get down to it and you lose, you're like, oh, all that work. So and then you got to do stuff afterwards just to like calm yourself down, eat some ice cream, whatever. And some people would just go straight to bed, just laying down with their eyes open, like, damn, I should have peeked around the corner, I should have reloaded, I should have. Warzone is such a stressful game, but it's so much fun. So much fun.
You're gonna have to let us know how Outriders is though, because I'm actually very curious. I'm very curious about that game.
It's funny because some people put out the reviews in which there's a lot of loaded up. I loaded it up just to get the graphics going, but I do want to stream it sometime soon, maybe this week. I see a lot of people like Crystal Twitch enjoying Outriders, saying it's really good. Not really. There's a huge comparison to Destiny, but I hear that's an unfair comparison. I hear it's more Mass Effect, more Division-y than it is Destiny. And you have a bunch of different classes with a bunch of different abilities. You have a story mode, and then you have like this like end game world kind of thing. But yeah, definitely not Destiny. Yeah, I heard it like it's unfair to compare it to Destiny, but at a glance it looks like that. So hopefully it's a good game when I actually start playing it. So my boy's like, let's play something. Pick a game. Get Outriders. But he liked it. But yeah. Cool. Free this week on Epic, we got Toponia, the complete journey. Ken follows the Pillar of Earth and the First Tree. Always make sure to go to the Epic store and just add it to your library. Even if you're not going to play the games, I mean, later on, I don't know, review my. I mean, it's just look at Among Us, right? The game is years old. Backlogs. I mean, Among Us is old, but hey, it blew up. Everybody's starting enjoying it. So maybe one of these games on Epic might one day be that game that blows up, or some game that you enjoy. So add them, like that, and the games on PlayStation Plus, if you have that too. Just add them to your library. You don't have to download them. Just add them. You'll have them there, and then eventually you'll play them in there. But yeah, that's all the time we have for today's episode of Button Smash. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in live here on twitch.tv/RealRogueMatter. Listening to us everywhere, listen to a podcast like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Thank you guys very much for tuning into our YouTube channel, Rogue Matter, to watch our VODs there after the fact. And just being cool in chat and loving everything that we do here. We guys here, we've been TV's Casey, we've been Chris, and the Bat Coyote. Guys, thank you very much. We will see you later, or we will see you another time.